Today's show is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. You know, our homies, when it comes to sportsbook and apps, they are the number one rated one. Not only are they safe, but they are secure. And just like Deke, they are reliable. And that's the most important part of this thing, ladies and gentlemen. And when you're talking about DraftKings Sportsbook, they obviously have incentives to keep you happy. They have incentives to welcome you to their family as well. And that incentive is a promo code. That promo code is MOATS. If you use that promo code when you first sign up and you make that little $5 wager, you know that first $5 bet?
Yeah.
You're going to get $200 in free bets after that. I mean, dude, this is a pretty dope deal. $5, you get you $200. I don't know what, it sounds like a pretty good idea to me.
Sounds like good
think?
math to me.
So I like how that math works, right? That math is definitely mathing in the right direction. So we definitely get behind that. But make sure whatever you do, you download their app. It's that simple. DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the promo code, all right? And get you an opportunity to get a little money. But I also would be remiss, Deke, if I did not talk about the other side of this, right? Because we know we all like to indulge. We all like to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
But you might be a person that happens to overindulge. Have a little too much fun.
You may affect others around you.
It's a strong
You
possibility.
may affect your own livelihood.
Absolutely. And when that might
In
happen.
not a good way.
And if that is happening, or you might know somebody that's happening too, on the screen right now, it's a disclaimer. For my New York people, it's a special number for you to call and text. But for everyone else, if you have any type of gambling problems, if you need crisis help, it's a number that you should call. And it goes like this. 1-800-GAMBLER. Yep, so now we talk a little bit of the depth chart. So let's start with the most important one. We finally have who our QB1 is, Mitch Trubisky. And yesterday, all of us were very surprised when the rest of the quarterback depth chart was released. It initially said Mitch Trubisky was QB1, Mason Rudolph was QB2, and Kenny Pickett was QB3. So as you could imagine, I was kind of surprised. Deke was surprised. A lot of us were surprised. As y'all seen media-wise, nationally, locally, everybody was like, oh, what? Bro, I was at a meeting this morning. I'm in the lobby. And the waitress, or the reception, she's like, yo, like, we got to talk. Like, what's up with the Kenny at 3? Like, I'm like, bro, I don't know. I don't know the answer. I was shocked.
Yeah.
Then we get said press conference today, and it was casually blown off as a clerical error, copy and paste.
Do you buy it?
Honestly, I do not buy it.
Wow. Conspiracy modes.
And the reason why I don't buy it is because I know Coach Tom. He's an attention to detail guy. And you're going to tell me you copy and paste the most important position group on the team, the one that's going to get the most reactions, the most eyes on, the one that we've been talking about in a competition.
He wasn't on the internet, though, right?
So you have Jalen Warren as RB2. That wasn't a clerical error. You had Cam Sutton listed as the starting corner outside. That wasn't an error. All these other important switches were here with no other issues, but at the most important spot, the one that's had all the eyes on this whole offseason, the one that we knew, hey, I'm not going to overanalyze, I'm not going to underreact. That's the one that you just casually copied and paste? Come on, Deke. I personally did not agree with it. I'm glad that whatever he needed to do was done, because I do think that Kenny should have been listed as number 2 on the depth chart, but I do not personally buy this. Oh man, they just copied and pasted that. Oh yeah, I had no clue about that, because I know Coach Tommy. He's a minutia guy. He's a details guy. He's a, hey, do everything right. Check it out. So you're going to tell me at the most important spot, not RB2, not starting corner, not Devin Bush starting the inside linebacker, Robert Spillane at number 2, Mark Robinson backing him up. Not all those little details at the positions that really we're like, all right, they matter, but do they matter as quarterback? No, they don't matter the same way. Kevin Dotson, he wasn't a slash. He was up there definitively. So it's like, man, all these other spots, everything is fine. So yeah, man, I don't know. It just didn't add up to me personally.
The two things I'm thinking, though, I guess to go back, or well, I guess like a rebuttal to that would be, how much is Tomlin paying attention to like the online depth chart? Now I get for him, Is he just giving someone a piece of paper and they got to submit them? Because maybe they did. Because the depth chart all the way through this offseason was Mitch, Mason, Kenny.
Yeah.
So maybe they were just like, oh, the quarterbacks are the same. They didn't even look at it and did the copy-paste. Are you saying Tomlin's the one copying and pasting?
I left it alone. I said if that's it, because I love Coach T. That's my guy. And I would never go to that point of trying to prove a point to knock him off, knock his word off.
Tomlin's entering in the information on Steelers.com.
If that's the reasoning that he wanted to give us, if that's the reason he wanted to give us, Deke, I've known this man for a long time, Deke. When we talk about details, when we talk about minutia, Deke,
He knows what's going to be out there.
When we talk about every little thing, even how he speaks to the media and the words he chooses to use versus how he speaks to players versus how he speaks to the team directly, this is not a man who just casually. That's not him.
You think it would have been cleared up way earlier?
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. He wouldn't have waited. It was a mistake. Oh, shit. No, not me. But like I said, man, it is what it is.
Here's the other thing, though. Here's the other thing, though. Hear me out on this. Tomlin, you know how he makes his decisions and he sticks by them.
I would agree.
Would he really let the fanfare or public perception
but like this, I don't necessarily believe that it was public perception that changed it. Part of me wonders, was he trying to like be intentional with it in the sense of like, are you trying to mess with people? Are you trying to play the mind games of no? I know Coach Tomlin, bro. Listen, this is the same coach. Like, game? I don't know his angle right now. That's why I was all surprised. Like, bro, why would you? Why would you?
I was thinking trade bait. Have Mason at QB2.
So that's a mind game either way, right?
Teams look at depth chart. Like, if we're starting with Mitch, and we're not going to see Kenny for maybe at least 4 or 5 weeks. Yeah. Some team needs a quarterback early. Someone goes injured. When they're scouting teams' depth charts, they don't want to grab the QB3. They want to get the guy that's QB2.
So then that could be a mind game then. Only problem is we don't dress all three guys. So when we get out there in week one, it's like, hey, man, so Mason really the backup? That's what it'd been. Yeah.
That can't be the case.
Exactly.
I would have been disgusted if Pickett was in street clothes.
So well, what's the game we play here? Like,
not even that too. If Mitch just went down with injury or Mitch is playing poorly, you are
Kenny to
not
go.
putting Mason Rudolph in over Kenny.
Not if they're all in the same. It's different.
Pittsburgh would have been burned down.
Right. It's totally different if Kenny was already starting and Kenny went down and then it had to go Mason. That's a different conversation. You can't have Kenny on this roster the way that he played this preseason and not have him dressed and have Mason Rudolph dressed. I'm with you. But once again, you know this, I know this, and he knows that. So you tell me why he did it there.
I don't know.
It ain't adding up. The math ain't math. That's all I know.
Maybe it was just a clerical error.
That's a heck of an error. If that's an error, that is one that, man.
Do you think he's that type of person that just would do it to simply mess with the media or mess with the public?
Yes.
Just to have fun with it?
Yes. This is Coach Tom we talking about. Yes. This is Coach Tom.
Mason probably didn't find it that funny.
Oh, no, 100% I agree. But Mason has been the one who could feel that he's been disrespected throughout this whole process, whether you're talking about bringing in Mitch, whether you're talking about drafting Kenny, whether you're talking about drafting Chris Oladuke, and whether you're talking about signing Haskins a year ago. It's like Mason has never had that opportunity to be the unquestioned, no competition, you're the guy. He hasn't had that opportunity. Haskins had it in Washington. Mitch had it in Chicago. Kenny hasn't had it yet, but he'll get it, But for Mason, it's like, bro, you should feel some type of way. So, yeah, whether they playing with you intentionally or it's a copy and error, you mean to tell me you don't respect my position group enough to actually look in there the way that you look that running back, the way that you look that linebacker, the way that you look that corner? Because that's the other. If I'm a player, I'm over here like, bro, it's a copy and error. So we over here competing, but you don't even think that we matter enough in that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying, bro. If I was Mason.
The error is benign enough to be believable in a way, because if it was Mason QB1 coming out,
everybody would lose their mind.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And you couldn't say that's an error. That's intentional if he was a QB1.
Yeah, that's bad. ESPN, all the NFL social accounts, they're going to be retweeting that, giving that information out. You can't mess that up.
But this is, once again, you already know everybody's going to be retweeting. Everybody's going to be talking about, once you put this depth chart out, Deke, think about this.
That was the bigger storyline than Mitch being QB1.
Absolutely. You don't think that went past his radar, or the person that was in charge of making that post that went past there? Like, coach, you sure about this one right here? I saw you had this, coach. All right, you sure you want Jaylen Warren over Benny Snell though? You 100% on that one, coach? Yeah. All right.
I like that one.
Coach, you don't want Levi starting outside? You sure you don't want Levi out there? Yes, I'm sure. This QB depth chart straight? Oh yeah, don't worry about that. Just copy and paste. We good. Are you? Just think about it. That's what we're saying right now. That's what you are telling me that we're supposed to believe right now.
I just don't know what the red tape was.
That's what he's telling me I'm supposed to believe right now. So I'm supposed to believe it. That's all I'm saying. The detail is everywhere else except the most important position, Deke. I don't know. It ain't adding up.
The way I think of it is Tomlin just hands in the depth chart and he's going home and going to sleep.
All right, so
that's how I view it.
He's locked in on every other position except the quarterback depth chart.
No, his is right. I think it was the person
whoever he gave it to messed it up.
Yeah, inputting it to the computer, they messed up. That's what I'm thinking. And he was already home, and I'll deal with it tomorrow. That's how I view it. But you're talking about all the attention to detail that it would have been switched way sooner when it was first out there.
If that was the mistake, that's all.
So you're saying it was Tomlin messing it up?
I ain't gonna say who it is. I'm gonna leave it alone. All I know is it ain't adding up because you ain't gonna tell me this is a copy and paste situation for the most important position, but RB2, cornerback, the linebacker depth chart, shoot, all these other positions got varied details of who's backing up who, which side of it, and everything. That's all.
Right, the players that got cut aren't there. Yeah.
So where's this copy? Where was Chris Oladukin? We just copy and paste it, right? Why ain't Oladukin listed at 4? Oh, you right. It's copy and paste.
Could have just been.
You're right.
Could have just been done on like spreadsheets where you're just taking.
You're right.
Those 3 in that row, and you're leaving Oladukin out when you're doing the copy.
That's what it was.
That might have been it.
That's what it was. Okay.
That might have been because that was the order of those 3 cells in the spreadsheet.
Yeah, all that.
Copy. You don't have to worry about Oladukin, but it's still that order of Trubisky, Rudolph, Pickett, and you don't double check your work. It happens, I guess.
Either way, it's all love though. But
amazing 24 hours. I mean,
we love it. You know that. Hey, we ain't gonna never trip on the content. Appreciate you, coach.
Well, especially now that the end result is fixed.
Because now we get double content. Absolutely.
Right. If Pickett was still QB3, no, I would not be happy.
I would agree with that as well. I'll be over here like, bro, what is happening? It would be a totally different conversation of, like right now, we're more
just
so
like,
focused
what
on
are we doing?
Yeah, that would have been the conversation.
Like, what are we doing?
What's the point of this?
It's got to be trade bait.
Yes.
Because if Mitch goes down, I mean, you got to be putting Pickett out there. And then if you're doing it that way, though, that's another like big F you to Mason of just like, hey, we got you at 2 on the depth chart, but no, we're actually going with Pickett.
Absolutely. Like I said, it doesn't add up. However we want to spin it, it's not adding up to me, bro.
None of it did.
But that's why I just said I love Coach T. That's my guy. If that's the excuse he's going with, I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm going to say, yep, coach, it is what it is. It was just that position. And no, I'm not going to spin it and say, well, what does that mean for coach if he could just overlook the most important position group either? How are you evaluating this quarterback competition if you just copying the – that's another – I ain't even going there with it, but that's the other thing. I'm like, yo, if you could just casually just maybe Kenny should be QB1. I don't know. No, I'm playing.
What did you think about the others? I mean, I think it was pretty much chalk outside of you brought up running back and cornerback.
Yeah, those are the 2 for me, man. I was a little bit surprised that Cam Sutton was listed as the starting outside corner because obviously when you bring in Levi and Akello, we know that we were high on both of those dudes, and the money is comparable. But we did find out that Sutton does make more. But at the end, the reason why I think it was the right decision, and I'm not surprised initially by this, was because Levi did miss a substantial amount of time in camp. He had the illness. They didn't say what exactly it was, but he missed about a week of training camp. And we know Cam Sutton, man, he put together another really good offseason. OTAs, mini camp, training camp. I talked about how when I was out there, he continues to fly around every day. We saw his performances in the preseason. I talked about the pick that he had in that last game against the Lions and some of the detail that went with that. To me, Cam didn't do anything to lose that starting spot. To me, the big knock on Cam is just the athletic limitations when you're talking about big speed. The true wide receiver ones that he's going to have to deal with, that's where he's limited, and that's where we feel a little bit better about him in the slot because you don't have those type of animals in there. He can handle everything else that's in the slot. It's when you facing, your top tier guys, your true wide receiver ones where he's going to struggle. And we felt like Levi and Akello were just more, fit for that. But I could still see a scenario where Cam is starting outside in base, but when they go sub package ball, because the depth chart was out of base. When they go sub package, it could easily be the scenario where he bumps into that slot and Levi comes back out there, which I do anticipate it being. I think all three of those dudes are going to play a ton of snaps, regardless of who's the starter on paper. All three of those dudes are going to be out there just by how often we're in our sub package stuff like that. So, like I said, I wasn't, like I said, all the way surprised by that. RB2, slightly surprised. Yes. I thought Jalen definitely balled out, and I was happy that he made the roster. I did not agree with him being RB2 over Benny Snell. I like what I saw from him running the ball. I like what I saw from his explosiveness and catching the ball and things like that. To me, though, I just personally like Benny Snell's game a little bit better. We talked about minus the fumbles. Benny has shown that he can ball. Benny has shown that you can live with him at times. But the ball security was the big question mark. We hadn't seen any fumbles this offseason, so I was feeling good with that. But I do think that both of those,
touchdown.
Yeah. Absolutely, like everything that we talk about, can he catch? Can he do this? Can he do that? It's like he showed the improvement and back against the wall. It's another one of them dudes that, hey, man, if he ain't have a good preseason, he was going to be up out of here 100%. So it's like, man, he did what he needed to do, and he earned that spot, and rightfully so. But for me, I was definitely a little bit surprised. And like I said, I definitely enjoyed what I saw with Jalen. I talked about him a ton this offseason. But to me, I definitely would have leaned Benny at RB2, especially if it's a scenario where I'm actually going to be giving one of these guys the ball early on. Man, I trust Benny a little bit more than I trust you. I haven't seen Jalen in regular season just yet. Like, we're going to get more familiar with him when we're comfortable. Hopefully, I don't have to get too familiar with him as a running back early on. I wanted to be more Najee. But it's like, man, we're going to learn more about him in stadium versus the better competition, because that's the other thing that Jalen was not doing. He wasn't out there facing dogs after dogs after dogs in the preseason, and that's just a part of how the preseason is shaped. But as a whole, it's like I do feel more confidence in Benny right now.
Yeah, at least getting us through a regular season game, or at least just going out there doing what you're supposed to do, because you never know with Warren, rookie mistakes or whatnot. Now, based off how he played in the preseason, I don't know. He looks like a baller. He looks like a gamer.
He definitely does. He does. Like, he did everything right, and that's why I thought, he should make this team outright. Remember, we were talking about how we're keeping 3 running backs or 4.
We needed to keep him no matter what.
I felt like he was definitely one that both of us agreed that, he's done enough to be here. But, yeah, it's a different type of, pressure. It's a different type of execution that's needed when it's regular season, because you also have to remember, in the preseason, how long was Jalen Warren playing? 2 quarters?
Pretty much, yeah. On average, I'd say.
It's different when we talking about I need it for 4 quarters and every snap counts. And you're not playing against guys that are nobodies, guys that don't have.
Well, it might even be different with him too, because you're only going to come in for maybe 2 or 3 snaps at a time, and then you might get a whole nother quarter rest because Najee's going to be our main guy. Whereas Jalen Warren in the preseason, he was able to heat up.
Yeah, absolutely. And that
helps running backs a lot.
Absolutely, it's a big difference with that, man. So, like I said, man, I'm glad though that both of these dudes are here either way. But that was one of the ones for me where I was a little bit surprised. No surprise with Pickens being listed as the starting wide receiver. I think that was a no-brainer. Dotson being the starting left guard, no-brainer.
Devin Bush, starting middle linebacker. We thought it was happening,
we figured
right?
that. Yeah, even though we don't necessarily feel the most confident in that decision, we did get to that point where it was like, he's gonna get opportunity. Yeah, like I still think we're gonna see Robert Spillane in week 1. Whether it's certain type of package, I don't know if they're going to be rotating like we've seen them do in the past, but I do think we're going to see
Bush
Spillane
attack when they yank him.
We will see Spillane at some point in time, though, and that's, like I said, nothing that Devin is doing negative in this game. I just think that they're going to go in with Spillane still being involved. Based on what we saw in the preseason, Spillane was their dime guy. He was there when it got coverage only. That's the guy they put out there because they trust him. He knows the communication, and you know what you're going to get from him, the consistency part. So early on, I do anticipate that rolling, but yeah, that was still, like I said, no surprise. Mark Robinson, regardless of where you put him behind Spillane or opposite Spillane, like it was not going to be a surprise. So, yeah, I was good with all that.
That's really it. Yeah. And then just going back to the corners, I'm with you because I was surprised, not surprised, because at the beginning of the offseason, they had the cornerback room listed like this. And I was like, what is going on? We brought in Levi. I feel like he's featured way more as he's been featured way more as an outside guy throughout his career. And like if we had to compare him versus Sutton up to this point, I would take Levi on the outside over Sutton. But you're right, with Levi maybe missing some time and Cam Sutton playing good in the preseason, and with the amount of time cornerbacks play in this league, like each of them could be getting 70 to 80% snaps.
Absolutely. And you also got the familiarity too. We don't want to forget that part. Cam's been here, drafted here. It's 5 years for him now?
Yeah, give the guy in-house first shot.
Absolutely.
He didn't do anything to necessarily lose being the starting outside. But how? I mean, there's no reason why we can't still, if it's only like a 2 cornerback package, put Levi out there for a couple snaps.
I would agree.
There's no reason we can't do it. And then especially like if we do the nickel thing, all right, put Levi on the outside, Cam in the slot. Or if we got to put Cam on the outside, we want to put Levi in the slot or Arthur Millette. I feel fine about our secondary.
Yeah, I would agree.
Overall.